I keep my breath still so I'm steady. Keep my eyes fixed on the door. Keep a bullet in the chamber. Keep my feet firm on the floor. I keep the skies high above me. Keep the roads stretching far. It keeps my mind from going crazy. Keeps my heart going cold. Just in case it rains. Just in case it rains.
Danforth Brown has seen the Union Cutlery Company through the Great Depression and World War II. He capitalizes on the popularity of the USMC fighting knife and the K-bar name.
At the end of World War II, there was millions of knives in circulation around the globe that were known as K-bars, whether they were actually K-bars or not. Trying to capitalize on that, Union Cutlery changed their name to K-bar in 1952. Now, the problem was the market had changed. Instead of military knives, utility knives, it had kind of gone back to that pre-war need for hunting knives, pocket knives, and Union Cutlery was forced to adapt.
Just as his father, Wallace Brown, had been approached by Olean, New York officials to move his cutlery operation, Danforth is courted by representatives from Dawsonville, Georgia, in a bid to relocate his company.
Danforth found himself in a very similar position to Wallace before him. He had this very intriguing offer in front of him to move the company, only this time it wasn't 30 miles away. It was 1,000 miles away, far away from their home base, where they were from, where their family was from. So it had to have been quite a decision, and I'm sure he didn't take it lightly.
Tax incentives, inexpensive property, and the prospect of cheap labor give Danforth Brown optimism that this is the right move for the survival of K-bar. In 1954, he moves K-bar to Dawsonville, Georgia, under a 20-year agreement.
K-bar relocates, Danforth Brown moves down to Georgia, and he quickly finds that this probably isn't going to work out. One of the reasons for this not working out was the workforce. Good, hardworking people, but unfortunately, the surrounding area was mainly farmland, and these were families that had for generations been farmers. Their crops were very important to them, so if they had to tend to their farm, they would leave and tend to their farm. At the time, it wasn't really set up for a factory manufacturing environment, and as such, they often found the plant shorthanded and were scrambling for workers to do the necessary and vital operations.
A disinterested workforce and slumping sales put Danforth Brown and the officers of K-bar in a precarious position. This is a pivotal moment for K-bar. Danforth has taken a gamble, and it has failed. He can admit defeat, close the company, and simply walk away, or make another bold move.
Quickly overwhelmed, there was only one choice Danforth Brown had: to relocate back to Olean, New York. Fortunately, the factory was still in place, much of the equipment was still there, the workforce with all of their knowledge were here as well, so it was a pretty seamless transition back. Fortunately for him, that probably saved the company.
After being in Georgia for only 2 years, the Dawsonville operation is closed, and K-bar limps back to Olean, New York.
K-bar's return to Olean was quite a homecoming. That had to have been something that was very reassuring for Danforth and for really much of the staff here. That was a big part of the community that had been suddenly taken away, and for them to return home, that was a very positive thing for Western New York.
Despite his miscalculation on the move to Georgia, Danforth Brown has crafted the company into a globally known brand. On March 3, 1960, Danforth Brown dies, bringing an end to over 6 decades of Brown family leadership. It was Danforth's father, Wallace, and uncle, Emerson, who built the company from scrap. Danforth's grandfather John helped his sons grow a cutlery dynasty from the ashes of failed businesses and manufacturing ventures.
After Danforth Brown passes, the company changes hands several times, from local Olean businessmen to other knife companies to what we would consider today to be conglomerates. The death of Danforth Brown marked the end of the Brown cutlery dynasty and really marked the beginning of a turbulent time in the company history.
K-Bar sales begin to decline. Several Olean businessmen step up in an attempt to fill the leadership void. However, the decline continues. A series of owners also jump at the chance to own a piece of the World War II legend. But all suffer the same fate: failure. K-Bar enters into Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Dick Sturm, a longtime K-Bar employee, is appointed to run K-Bar on behalf of the bank.
One of the key employees during this time period was a man named Dick Sturm, who started at K-Bar in the 1940s and had subsequently rose to run the newly created K-Bar Collectors Club. And he was a great resource for history, from first-hand history, but also really tried to gather up documents and anything that could be of value down the road. So we're very much indebted to him today for what he did during his time at K-Bar.
Although K-Bar files for Chapter 11, the Robinson Knife Company purchases the K-Bar assets from the bank before the company can be reorganized. Despite bankruptcy, K-Bar operations continue without delay. The Robinson Knife Company prevents the total collapse of K-Bar, but a declining marketplace does not allow them to capitalize on their investment. After only 2 years, Robinson Knife Company sells K-Bar to the Cole National Corporation, an outdoor conglomerate of Cleveland, Ohio.
Once K-Bar ultimately left Olean, it went to Cole Consumer Products. It largely became a brand that sourced all of its products, and they sourced it from a variety of places: Pakistan, China, Ireland, and the products that were in the line were much of a shell of what it used to be.
Armed with an aggressive business plan, Cole National begins to diversify the K-Bar lineup. The company focuses on inexpensive pocket knives that look similar to Union cutlery patterns from the early 1900s. Products are sourced from the Far East and stamped with several variances of the K-Bar name. Slowly but steadily, sales begin to stabilize.
So during this time period, there were several different stamps used for K-Bar knives, many of which you will see still today. Today we use the all capital letters with the hyphen between the K and the bar. During this time period, they experimented with everything from all lowercase letters to losing the hyphen entirely, to marks that said things like K-Bar International, different lines like Saber, and this was just kind of a way to delineate the different features of these knives.
Cole National keeps the K-Bar brand alive for nearly 2 decades. K-Bar continues to operate at a modest clip. However, it lacks the dynamic growth an organization like Cole National demands. In the mid-1990s, Cole National puts K-Bar up for sale.
K-Bar did hit a rough patch again, and it was something where it ran a very real possibility of the company going away entirely, whether that was being bought and taken offshore or just eliminated completely. The future was very uncertain.
Olean, New York is also home to another cutlery company, Cutco, the cooking utensil company. By the 1990s, Cutco, then known as Alcas, is in a position to acquire K-Bar and provide the stability that K-Bar needs to survive.
In 1996, Bon Brian Schreiber, who headed K-Bar, had called Jim Stitt, my father, who ran Alcas, and told him that K-Bar would potentially be for sale. And Dad talks about the purchase of the company from Alcas as a decision of the heart, not of the head. Cutco had been making the Marine combat knife since 1975 for Cole Consumer Products, and it was the logical choice that a Olean-based company buy a former Olean-based company, and one that happened to be one of their primary vendors at the time.
After 30 years, K-Bar ownership returns to Olean.
you sit and think about the hand you played? If you had it back again. Gotta keep rolling on. Gotta keep rolling on. Well, I knew a guy with a big black eye, and his clothes were torn to bits. And he told me, friend, you can't beat a man who's too damn dumb to quit. We gotta keep rolling on. Gotta keep rolling on. Well, the town I'm from is like a cold old gun. Been a long time since I left. There's a four-way stop and a parking lot where we used to place our bets. Put your money down just outside of town, and you pull up to the line. Well, I learned back then what it's like to win, but you don't win all the time.